How did your experience as a climate activist, how did that factor into your decision around having kids?
Oh, well, this is certainly such an intense and personal issue. And I can feel just listening to the last few commentators and callers, like I can feel in my body, the emotion and the anxiety that this conversation produces. And I think that just the fact that our young people and young adults are having this conversation and talking about whether or not to have children, it's a huge wake up call to our whole society. I mean, this is a huge indicator of how profoundly the current climate crisis is affecting people. I think if we think about the human species and what each generation it has responsibility for, it's to ensure that the world is viable for your children,
Mm,
to try to control everything that you can, to give all you can in terms of security to your children, to the next generation. And here our young people are saying we cannot provide that security.
right.
It's an indictment. So that is what I think we really need to focus on. What is not working in society that we cannot provide. That I think it's a sacred responsibility of every living generation, and that's what's on the table right now.
So does this actually, as a parent, does it actually contribute to motivating you then?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have chosen to bring children into this world, and this is an intensely personal discussion. I was not unaware of what the predictions for the future are. But what I think that this very conversation is a call to action. It's a call to generations in power to listen to our young people and to honor that responsibility. It's a wake up call. We're failing our younger generations, and we have to change that. Action is the only option, and that's what we have to do. Is we have to show our younger children, our younger generations who are grappling with this decision, that yes, we're honoring our promises, yes, we're doing everything that we can to ensure that the future is viable.
I remember when I had kids, it was, thinking about consumption and waste, thinking about using cloth diapers, for example, that I sort of focused on that. This was 15 years ago. How can parents now actually do something? What is that action you're talking about?
We all have to do two things. We have to do the personal and we have to do the political. So the personal is, actually acting in our own lives. And it was beautiful to hear the Mamas for Mamas. I was so inspired by Shannon and the other people who are being on the front lines taking care of people, and then building that into your daily life, reducing your own ecological footprint. It's not only important for reducing our footprint on the earth, but it's also essential to show our children that you can do something. And for me personally, this was absolutely critical. I was a kid in the 80s, and there were so many environmental crises at that time. It was more focused around logging and pollution. We weren't talking as much about the global collective impacts, but the impacts that we were seeing were very real. And I had a huge amount of anxiety as a child. And if my mother in particular hadn't shown me some things that I could do, I think I could have been lost to hopelessness and despair, because I was a very sensitive child. And so being able to do something is absolutely key. And so we've got to take those personal actions. Kids are so amazing at integrating and seeing the solutions. I mean, it's easy. Let's grow our food. Let's reduce our garbage. Let's buy secondhand. Let's reduce our consumption. I mean, these are basic things that kids can actually take the lead on for a family. So that action is key. That's the personal. Then the political. We need systemic change. We need a cap on Canada's oil and gas emissions. We need to advocate for systemic regulations, for getting our society off of what I call fossil fuel supremacy. Fossil fuel supremacy being a whole set of intersecting systems that lock us into the expansion of fossil fuel projects, no matter what the impacts are on human health or our children's future. And that's what we got to end.